What is going on, everybody? Today we have a new review for you of the Twosun TS59 M390 blade in purple, anodized handle and pocket clip. First off, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you guys like Tanto knives. We are always doing great new stuff coming up with Tanto knives, and we want your involvement as part of this community. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow along with us and see where we're going. So let's get to it. This knife, I was really expecting a little bit more. It's very well made. I've been very impressed with Twosun. More recently, they've been a little sketchy over time in the past, but their quality has definitely gotten a lot better more recently in the past year. Their quality, their fit and finish, and even their actual blades being what they said say they are. Guys have tested their M390 and their D2s, and they're pretty much right on spot with their heat treat. So this knife is not a newer knife by any imagination. It's 59 out of, I think they're up about just under 300. So it's a very early knife. Now what they are doing that's very different is it seems like they're going to get into anodizing. So, and the anodizing on this is very nice, actually. The pocket clip has a little bluish purple to it, which is very different than the handle. The handle's got a very consistent purple, so it's interesting. I think the pocket clip, I don't know if they meant to have it kind of have that bluish purplish tint to it or not, but it actually looks good. Separates the colors. So the anodization aspect seems to be something new, and that's what attracted me to getting this knife. Like I said, overall it's very nice. Everything's tight. There's no play or wiggle or up or down or anything. The lock bar is about 25%, maybe 20%. Pretty well, yep, pretty well straight. Seems to be very straight there. If we can get it on camera so it looks right. So let's just give it some quick measurements. So you're looking at just a hair, a little bit over 8 inches long. It's just a little under 3/4 of an inch of handle in the middle there. Exactly 3/4 of an inch of blade. So let's just get some quick comparisons here. Let's do an XM18 3-inch and a PM2, which it's right there, right along with the PM2 Tanto, as you can tell. And the 3-inch is actually a fairly small knife, so you can kind of see where it falls between those two knives. It's got a pretty hefty blade stock, so let's check and see what we're looking at for the blade stock. A little over 150 thousandths. That's pretty normal for a lot of knives. It's about 10 thousandths more than the PM2. And a quick weight. In just under 4 ounces. So not bad for the length of the knife. So overall, pretty nice knife. Now comes the bad part. The thing that I don't like about this knife, and I think a lot of people will dislike with this knife too, is how narrow it is in the handle. From here all the way down to about here. It's super narrow, and it's contoured, as you can see, which turns around and becomes an issue with you keeping your fingers off that lock bar. Not so much a problem with the disengagement of it. The problem comes when you're trying to flip it. You're finding yourself having to really watch that lock bar. And like right here, you're trying to stay off the lock bar and get past this upper detent, which is actually pretty, see, it's very easy to slip up onto the lock bar, which makes everything tricky. You're either slipping up onto the lock bar, or you're slipping off the knife altogether because of the way it's contoured. It's contoured into the lock bar this way, and then it's like contoured off the knife this way. So it really takes some finesse with you and your fingers to staying off the lock bar. You can get on the lock bar a little bit, and it's not a big issue. But I mean, when you're really trying, it just makes it a real challenge to stay off that lock bar. I have medium hand and fingers, but my fingers are slim. So if you've got a big hand, this is not going to be the knife for you, because you'll be all over that lock bar the whole time of trying to use this knife. And that's where I would say that this is probably a great knife. It's not even a great knife for me personally. It's just, like I said, I feel like I'm either slipping on. I do slip onto the lock bar, and my fingers, I find my fingers are always getting onto the lock bar. I mean, to make sure that I'm holding it. If you're just using it for basic EDC tasks and you're not, I'm a fidgeter. I love to fidget my knives. So I just always like using my knives. So I'm always just on top of the lock bar. I mean, if I'm light fingering it, when I'm, if I'm light with my fingers, it's not a big deal. It'll still open. It'll still it will still close, but you have to be really light-handed with it to stay off that lock bar. Otherwise, you're going to have an issue. So, good knife if you do have slim fingers. If you have big hands and big fingers, this is not the knife for you. If you're a girl or a guy with slim fingers and you can be light-handed, and it's not a bad knife at all. But if you've got a big hand and big fingers, or just a heavy grip, when you're fidgeting, it's just not going to be the knife for you, because you're just going to be all over that lock bar. So other than that, like I said, the fit and finish, very nice. The anodization, very nice. But it's just a really slim knife. It feels good in the hand if you're using it, for the most part. But it's just, I don't know. It's really, in the middle there, it's just way too slim for me. If it was thicker through this part here, it would be probably it would probably be perfect. Get that lock bar away from your fingers. If you made it a little wider, move that lock bar down, possibly flatten that out a little bit, give you a little bit of a landing spot. Yeah, it would be a better knife. But other than that, if you're, like I said, if you got big fingers or a heavy-handed grip, you're going to be all over that lock bar, and you're going to have issues. You'll be probably discouraged, especially if you're a fidgeter. But if you're just using it for some cutting task, or if you're just collecting Twosun knives, it's a good knife for that. But there you go, guys. That is the TS59 in M390 in purple anodized handle. We will catch you next time, guys, on the next one. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and we will catch you next time. Bye.